Hey, this is Bryan with worshiptutorials.com. This is a tutorial for an electric guitar part for the song Holy Spirit, which was written by Bryan and Katie Torwalt. I'm going to teach you the arrangement from their album called Here on Earth. Now, this song has been covered by a number of people, including Jesus Culture, Bethel, I think, Carrie Job, and some others. But the song itself is really, really simple. Just a few chords and a few song sections, but it's a really powerful song. And this part is something that you can play. It's kind of a high, mostly rhythm guitar, actually. This one's going to be really easy. You can really play this on any of these arrangements. Just make sure you're in the right key. This one's in the key of A, and it's sort of suitable for a male lead. Maybe a lot of churches might want to do this in the key of G. All you would do is just the shapes that are up on the neck, move them down 2 frets, and then the open chords, you just transpose them into the key of G. First of all, let's talk about the gear that I'm using to get these sounds. It's a slow, sort of mellow song, but I'm using like a big overdrive sound. And sometimes that can be an impactful thing, especially if you want a song to feel really powerful. So that's what I'm doing on this one. I'm using a Line 6 Helix, and I've actually created a custom patch for this song, which you can download at Worship Tutorials. There's a link below. You can get all our resources on this song. We've got chord charts, we got acoustic tutorials and playthroughs. You can see me play it all the way through on electric guitar. You can get this patch. You can get a multi-track for it as well. So lots of stuff for Holy Spirit. So on this Helix patch, I set the song up into song sections using their snapshots. I have like an intro verse snapshot that I call swells. It's just a whole bunch of reverb and delay. And it sounds like this. First of all, I'm using the Mesa Boogie amp Mark IV. Clean channel amp model, and I'm hitting that with, I kind of drive the amp and I'm hitting it with a tube screamer. And then I've got a lot of delay on and reverb on the swells part. So it sounds like this if you use your volume pedal to swell in. And you can see when you let your volume pedal off, it still goes. There it is. So it's just really big sort of ambient sound. To get that, I used a lot of delay and particle verb and octo, which is their version of shimmer. So if you're using pedals in an amp, hit your amp with drive, tube screamer if you've got it. I think tube screamer sounds great on this. And if you've got a reverb pedal that'll do like a modulated, long, big modulated delay, reverb, use that with a lot of delay, with a lot of trails. That's what you want for swells. Okay, then I have a section called Big Chords, which is exactly what it sounds. Big chords. For those, I have a bit of reverb on. You can hear it trailing, and dotted eighth note delay. And this is set at the tempo of the song. Then a solo section is basically the same as the big chords. And then the bridge section, I took that dotted eighth delay off, so you can, so it sounds more like rhythm chords. So that's basically it. I'm using this Eastman T386 electric guitar with Porter, the classic humbucker in the bridge and the smooth humbucker in the neck. So let's talk about the different sections. In the beginning, the song just goes between A and D. The intro is A to D, the verses are A to D. So in the intro of the song and in the verses, in the first verse, I really just play these swells. So you go to the swell snapshot and play, like in the intro, basically up until the chorus, I like to play in the middle position. It just sounds a little bit rounder and warmer. It sounds like this if you hit swells. So I just play these open chords. You don't want to strum the whole chord when you do swells, just maybe 2 or 3 strings is all you really need. Bring it in really slow. That's it. Then the verse, back to A. There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. So if you want, you can play your A up here. Take a D, like you would play a regular D shape, and move it up so that you're on the 9th and 10th fret. So the G string is on the 9th fret, the B string 10th fret, the D string 9th fret. That is an A. Okay? And you can use that throughout the song, and I'll come back to that later. That's really the only sort of chord shape that's not probably what you already know to play this song. And many of you probably already knew that chord shape. That D shape is pretty common to use up and down the neck. So you can play your A up here to D, to A, to D, okay? So, and then when you hit the chorus, I definitely like to flip to the bridge position, and I like to play the A up here, and we're still doing swells. And when you flip to the bridge, it's gonna have a little bit different sort of character to the sound, to the swell. So here, I'll just do one on middle position, sounds like this. And then if you go bridge position, it sounds like this. So you can hear there's a little bit different, a little more drive to it. You know, a bridge pickup's going to cut through a mix a little better. So I like to flip to it there just to have it sound a little different. And if you have a tremolo on your guitar, it would be, that's where you'd want to use it. So you swell in, you can use tremolo. If you don't, you can just kind of modulate your strings up and down, a little tremolo on. You just use your fingers for the tremolo, which is an art in and of itself, one that I'm not so good at, but you can do that. Okay, so the chorus, you're just gonna go A. I like to do it up here. Again, we're just doing swells to D. Now in the chorus, it just goes on forever. In the chorus, it goes A, Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come D, flood this space and fill the B minor atmosphere. I like when you're doing these swells, just let that D ring out. Your band can hit that B minor, especially your bass player will hit that B. And so the band will move there, but I didn't feel the need to do a swell in on a B minor. So I just thought that, you know, just hold that D out is appropriate. And then, you do it again, you know, your glory, God, is what our hearts long for. For the second time you get to the D on the swell, I like to play this, it's like an A bar chord shape. So you bar on the 5th fret and then play like an A on top of it, and that's a D. So I like to play that and just play like the top 3 strings, and it sounds like this. And then you're gonna switch to your big chords because the turnaround section is big chords. Okay, so it's just A to a D. And then you're into the verse, the second verse. And in that verse, I just like to play big chords and let them ring. Okay? There's nothing worth more that could ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. And if you want, you can go up to this A up here. Your presence, Lord. And when you sing Your Presence, Lord, I like to play this. This is like the only lead line in this whole song, but if you just play this one, it really stands out. And really in all the different versions, I've always just heard different variations of this. And it's real simple. So you play your A up here on the 9th and 10th fret, and you go G string, 9th fret, B string, 10th fret, and then put your pinky down so you play the E string on the 10th fret, 10th to 9th, and it just follows the melody. Your presence, and then Lord is going to be on the G string, 11th fret. So when you play it, it sounds like this. And when you play it with everything on, and the dotted 8th note delay kind of comes into effect here. It sounds like this. So when you play it in the verse, you just play the verse. I've tasted and seen the sweetest of love, when my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. And so that's what you do for the verse. I did it both times through the verse on that last line, your presence, Lord. At the end of that, you're playing this up here. I kind of just did that. Dun, 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 and then you're into the chorus the second time through, and you're just going to play big chords here. And I play these bar chord shapes. So I play this E bar chord shape. Put your bar on the 5th fret, play an E on top of it. That's an A. Spirit, you are welcome here. Then you go back to this D shape, or it's an A bar chord shape, but up on the 5th fret, barred on the 5th fret, it's a D. Come flood this place and fill the... Now you need a B minor. And so if you play an E minor bar chord shape and bar on the 7th fret, that's a B minor. Atmosphere. Back to A. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for. To be overcome by your presence. That's it. And when you play it just with big chords, it's going to sound like this. And come flood, fill the... So you just play that. It just goes A to D to B minor, to A to D to B minor. After you get through there, it goes to a solo section. Now for the solo section, it's really easy. It just goes A to D to B minors, just like the chorus. But I like to play a rhythm part up here. So you do your A using this D shape on the 9th and 10th fret. And just like you would do a hammer-on a D if you were playing it down here, you do it up here, and then go down to the D major. And then B minor, I play with this shape right here. Back up to the A. This is the solo section. Okay, and when you play that on the solo setting, it sounds like this. And then when you hit the bridge, let us become more aware. For the first part of it, there's no electric guitar. I like to drop out there, just kind of for effect. And so in this section, the chord progression changes a little bit, kind of. It's still D to A to B minor, and then back to A. But the A has a C sharp in the bass, which you could just play it open chords. D, let us become A, more aware, B minor, of your presence, A. But I like to do kind of a power chord kind of a thing that just kind of walks down the neck. So if you play this D and you're only really wanting to play those 4 strings, the E, A, D, G string, you don't want anything up top yet. And really just the A, D, and G strings. You don't even need the low E on this. So here's that D shape. Let us become is A over C sharp. Now, if you take your pinky finger off and let your middle finger sit right underneath it, that'd be on the 7th fret of the E, A, D, G string. And then take your ring finger and stretch it down. It's a little bit of a stretch to the 4th fret of the A string. That's a C sharp. So that's kind of your version of an A over C sharp. It's like a variation of this A bar chord with a C sharp in the bass. So you could play it technically like this. but it's a little harder, at least for my fingers, to play it that way. So I like to just come off of this D shape, and then you just drop your your middle finger down, and then drop your your ring finger down to the 4th fret on the A string. So that's your A over C sharp, and then this is basically a B power chord to play your B minor, and then back up to your A over C sharp, D, A over C sharp, B, A over C sharp, and so on. And then the last time you play it, let us experience the glory of your goodness. Or kind of like when the bridge repeats, I like to just play full bar chords. I just play an A. Let your bass player handle that C sharp. And then that B minor up here to A, to D. And then on the last time through, you hold the D, Lord. And that's it. So when you play that together, that bridge sounds like this. And I kind of like to give it some chukas when you come into it. I don't hear that on the albums, but I think it sounds pretty cool. So. And then you go into the chorus, Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place. And if you want to, you can, I kind of flip it over. I go back to probably this big chord setting, that or the solo. They're both kind of the same. You can just kind of really lightly play on that A shape up here on the 9th and 10th fret where you're making that D. So if you're using a guitar with pickups that are really expressive, you can play really light and it really cleans up. This amp model really cleans up well, even with a lot of drive, and so. So you can just kind of play around on that D shape up there and make some pretty noises as the song outros. You really don't have to play anything there. I think on the studio version, there's no electric guitar there. It's just acoustic guitar and kind of pads and stuff. So, but you can, be creative with it if you want to in your context, whatever fits well for your church and kind of your sound and your culture. So that is Holy Spirit, a really simple, mostly rhythm part with just a tiny little bit of lead, just enough to give people something when they hear, they're like, oh, that's nice. And it's a really easy one to play. So I hope this is helpful for you. Again, head over to worshiptutorials.com. You can grab this Helix patch there. You can get all of our resources for this song. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.